digital methods, coaching and counseling, we are of course interested also in gifted education. So let's see some things about it. Gifted education is not a separate entity from the general education just presented. The tools it uses are the same or have been developed in the context of the daily needs of learners of previous centuries, such as apprenticeships, and are now rediscovered to foster the education of the more competent students. This, however, is not to say that the research on gifted education hasn't brought specific insights or that there haven't been developed any new tools for gifted children. However, two things should be remembered. There is a continuum that extends from general education to all forms of special education, and the study of the gifted is synonymous to the study of expertise. Terman, who is famous for his incredibly big research about gifted children, wrote in 1916. Teachers should be better trained in detecting the signs of superior ability. Every child who consistently gets high marks in his schoolwork with apparent ease should be given a mental examination, and if his intelligence level warrants it, he should either be given extra promotions or placed in a special class for superior children where faster progress can be made. Terman summarizes the traditional reductionist view of gifted education. There are some super high ability children that should be detected and placed in special programs. However, trying to define which are the gifted children in relation to other children and what kind of extra care they need and what for is a process that redefines gifted education. And we have seen that, take for example the Pygmalion effect, children that are treated as gifted sort of become gifted in the end. So these ideas of Terman express a traditional, let's say, and old idea about the separation between the charismatic children and not charismatic children. But it's interesting to note. What is the purpose of gifted education? The only challenge education should face is the decision of creating experts and what kinds of experts it needs. Social criteria should define the demand of experts in the market, and a certain amount of positions should be properly structured to lead to the relevant expertise. University is too late for that. Apart from that, society will not be a better place if more people are taught third-degree equations, Krebs cycle, microeconomics, general relativity, and modern literature again and again for 12 years. Neither does anyone have the slightest possible recollection of those, nor is anyone considered illiterate for not knowing how to apply the conservation of energy equations to solve a mathematical system problem. Already systems such as the English model of gifted education accept the notion of early expertise, significance, and orientation. See Ayer 2009. From the point of view of philosophy of science, teaching those subjects is useless anyway. Learning is produced by motivation, not teaching, let alone wrong teaching. Should someone examine the current needs of children as expressed nowadays via the social media, news reports, and personal interactions with youngsters, having in mind what young people face in the job market, one would find major differences between what is taught and what is needed, what society needs and what society needs and fast. What society needs, and it needs that fast, are children who are taught how to handle themselves, have deep knowledge and understanding on issues like overpopulation, climate change, minorities, human rights, law issues, conflicts, food safety, animal rights, and global trends. See, for example, Renzulli and Rice 2010 for this. Children who have solid knowledge and understanding of political philosophy. children that have a good understanding of ethics, liberty notions, and human freedom. Children who are taught how to handle stress, emotional rejection from others, and how to prevent and cope with disease, or how to take care of others in need, or how to actually do CPR. Society needs children being trained in how to safely drive a car or a motorcycle, how to choose food and why, how to maintain lifelong fitness levels, how to make micro adjustments, repairs to popular electronic devices, how to apply mathematical logic in their everyday life. How paradoxical it is that these issues are not only left untouched but are hot potatoes for most educational environments. 6 years of general education in science are more than enough. If not, it's the system's fault. There is no need to go through the same things for 12 years and remain unable to cope with a sentimental breakdown, a sentimental separation, to be incapable of appreciating freedom or of planning one's own life, let alone being unable to even remember what one was actually taught. No 14-year-old child has any structured knowledge of the aforementioned listed issues, let alone of mathematics, literature, physics, and all the other subjects it is supposed to know, as the only skill that school actively teaches is how to solve specific, irrelevant to the real world problems to pass a specific kind of examinations. See, for example, Gardner 2006 or Brown et al. 1989. This may qualify for a complete failure. However, any 14-year-old child can have a good general education after 7 years in school. From 14 years old and on, any child can follow its inclinations and begin acquiring a direction in their studies to be fully prepared before entering the university or another institution. When there is a debate about gifted education, it actually means that these issues are resolved for society and education, and there are still children who wish to specialize even earlier. But because the study of giftedness is the study of expertise, this is the only meaningful way to begin a discussion about gifted education. An educational system should be built to either produce healthy individuals who can manage and have control over their lives and learn to think, or to assist individuals in becoming experts. Modern gifted educational systems do both, succeeding, however, more on the latter, uh, making children experts, as the former is limited by too many social taboos. In the current gifted education literature, there are some common issues and some pressing questions. Davis, in 2009, identifies the broad topics that are discussed in recent articles and books. 13 points. Gifted minority students, programs and schools for the gifted, identification and testing issues and procedures, motivation and social emotional problems, gifted student characteristics and behavior, descriptions of effective teacher characteristics, competencies, and teaching strategies, characteristics of families of gifted students, definitions of giftedness, acceleration, enrichment, and individualization strategies, creativity and problem solving, underachieving and gifted students, adjustment problems and counseling of the gifted, national, state, and local programs for gifted students. Let's say some things now about cognitive apprenticeships, embodied cognition, and acceleration. Collins 2006, Brown et al. 1989, Wilson 2002, Colangelo and Assoulin 2009 all discuss about cognitive apprenticeships, embodied and situated cognition, and acceleration, which are increasingly gaining support as models that explain or predict learning well. Apprenticeships are an ancient educational system where learners, practitioners, studied an art or a trade working as apprentices near experienced professionals. Gardner 2006 finds that with all its historic drawbacks, excesses, and sexism, the apprenticeship model of learning and assessment, which he calls contextualized learning, could be profitably reintroduced in education. Apprentices and just plain folks work in similar, sensible ways that are alien to the formal education system. Cognitive apprenticeships effectiveness, the modern version of the trade-based apprenticeships, are based on the premise that knowledge is situated in the environment of the practitioner. Embodied and situated cognition are the models of knowledge which maintain that there is no such thing as neutral indexical knowledge that is decontextualized, that is, independent of one's environment, and that cognitive processes are deeply rooted in the body's sensorimotor interactions with the world. Interestingly, there is a complementary viewpoint which is genuinely abstract mathematical, and despite receiving zero attention, it served as a foundation of mathematics, and it supports that knowledge is abstract, unsituated, and user-defined. Maybe a new epistemology should reconsider appreciating this approach also. Acceleration now is typically associated with whole grade skipping. There are, however, at least 18 types of it, and generally its goal, as captured in Gould's 1965 phrase, is to reduce the time spent by superior students in formal education. Colangelo and Asulin, 2009, argue that despite its lukewarm acceptance from schools, acceleration is one of the most positive and well-researched tools available. It has been researched for over 50 years, and is an example of classic casualty of belief trumping evidence. They cite the 20 most important points regarding academic acceleration. Let's see some of them, 7 of them. Acceleration is the most effective curriculum intervention for gifted children. For bright students, acceleration has long-term beneficial effects, both academically and socially. Acceleration is a virtually cost-free intervention. Gifted children tend to be socially and emotionally more mature than their age mates. For many bright students, acceleration provides a better personal maturity match with classmates. When bright students are presented with curriculum developed for age peers, they can become bored and unhappy and get turned off by learning. Testing, especially above-level testing, using tests developed for older students, is highly effective in identifying students who would benefit from acceleration. And the evidence and mechanisms are made available to help schools make good decisions about acceleration so that it is a low-risk, high-success intervention for qualified students.